did you choose to study biomechanical engineering?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, I was really active. I played soccer, and around the time when I was 8, my mom tore every ligament in her knee. And so I watched her go through 17 knee surgeries. And at the time, I was just really interested in what they were doing and the rehab she was doing. And then I ended up going to an all engineering school for college, which was kind of an accident. I didn't really know what engineering was before that, but I was good at math and science, so I chose that school because I could play soccer there too. And while I was there, I got introduced to being able to do medicine or like study orthopedics from an engineering point of view through a course called computational biomechanics. And so that's kind of how I got introduced into it, because I had this love of studying how the body worked through medicine, watching my mom go through all her knee surgeries, and then seeing how engineering concepts can be applied to the human body to solve problems that are really hard to do from any other perspective. So I just really loved that I could do medicine and my skill set in engineering to solve problems to help people.
Yeah, I think that's definitely such a cool intersection between the two topics, and definitely something that I don't think is like the first subject to come to mind when it comes to like, oh, what do you want to study in college? So do you have any specific experiences of being a woman in STEM that you would like to share?
Yeah, I mean, so it took me a while to figure out that I wanted to do biomechanics. Um, as I said, I went to an all engineering school, so the ratio was 4-to-1 male to female, so it was a 25% female school. So that was always a little interesting, just because you were definitely in the minority through all of your classes. And then I worked in a few industries prior to finding biomechanics, which is actually pretty female heavy for an engineering field, where I worked in the oil industry and in the amusement park industry, where I was some of the only females doing that. And so, especially in the oil industry, I was the only female. And so that was a little rough, but it definitely taught me that I have a different perspective than people who, you know, are different than me. And so it kind of taught me the importance of having a very interdisciplinary group and to have diversity in your group. And so I think it's really helped me broaden my mindset of how other people work differently and how you need that in your group.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something helpful to learn, especially sooner rather than later. So how have you been able to overcome the obstacles of being a woman in STEM? And what do you think we can do to empower other girls who are thinking of pursuing the same fields?
Yeah, so I think I'm most thankful for my female mentors, and really just my mentors in general. I've had a lot of people throughout my life who have really encouraged me to chase after my dreams, whatever those might be. And so having female role models has been a big thing for me, which is not something that everybody has. And so actually between my starting grad school and the year before that, I worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory developing a research project that looks at how starting to mentor long-term, starting in 6th grade, can help girls kind of stay interested in math and science. And what we've found is having that long-term relationship with somebody who's in the STEM fields can really help these girls kind of stay focused in those areas and stay interested, and have that person in their life as they start making those big decisions on what they're going to do in college and for their career. But even more so from that, what we found is the mentors have started, you know, a new community where even though they may be the only female in their group that they directly work with, they now have this community outside that has women of multiple different career stages, but they can all connect through that and kind of talk about their the problems that they've had and their wins that they've had as well together. So having that community of women mentors who are the same age as you, a little bit older, and then also being able to mentor, I think really helps you stay focused in why you went into a specific field.
Yeah, thank you so much for talking with me today. It was really great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Despite not having a lot of female role models, not seeing a lot of representation in media, and working in a male-dominated field, women in STEM have still risen from the oppression and thrived in recent years. Since the 19th and 20th centuries, when women have begun actively campaigning for equal education opportunities, more women have entered STEM fields than any other field in the past 40 years. 28% of working women today are in STEM fields compared to just the 7% in 1970. Over 200,000 women have graduated from STEM fields in 2016 compared to just the 1,400,000 women who have graduated in 2009. Though this is just 7 years apart, there is a 43% increase. Women have become prominent in STEM and have accomplished many great things. One recent accomplishment is the 2020 Chemistry Nobel Prize, which was awarded to Emmanuelle Charpentier and Jennifer Doudna, who received a Nobel Prize in Chemistry for their development of a method of genome editing. This is called CRISPR-Cas9, which is a tool that allows scientists to snip DNA and edit the genomic code of animals, plants, and microorganisms. They're the first all-women team and the 6th and 7th women to receive a Nobel Prize in Chemistry for their research. These amazing scientists hope to inspire a new generation of women in science. Another accomplishment is to the 4 MIT faculty members, physicists Tracy Slater and Netta Engelhardt, who have been awarded the 2021 New Horizons Prize in Physics, and also the mathematicians Lisa Piccirillo and Nina Holden, who have been awarded the New Frontiers Prize in Mathematics. This year, we also celebrate the accomplishments of legendary STEM women. This includes Rosalind Franklin, who we celebrated the 100th birthday of this July, and Florence Nightingale, whose pioneering work in medical statistics and diseases is so important today due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Her 200th birthday was celebrated this May. Currently, the COVID-19 pandemic is greatly affecting STEM workplace equity, as many women are at home due to lockdown, caring for their families, uptaking different work arrangements. Due to that, there has been a slow pace of change, and it's also causing a slowing of diversity and fairness in the STEM labor workforce. In order to change this, flexible work arrangements needs to be given to women to keep them working. Though we have made tremendous progress in the past years, there is still so much more to be done to get more women working in STEM fields and closing that gap between men and women in STEM jobs today. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sanjanam Kudru, and today I will be talking to you about the incredible influential women of science, Rosalind Franklin. Rosalind L.T. Franklin was born in 1920 and was an English X-ray crystallographer who made important discoveries about the structure of deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA, the biological instructions that compose all living organisms. She was incredibly passionate, who loved outdoors and spiraling into productive discussions about science and politics. Today, we regard Franklin's most notable contribution to the history of science as her famous Photo 51 and her photo of a tiny molecule of DNA, which helped her understand the double helix structure of DNA. Though Franklin played a critical role in the discovery of DNA structure, her contributions were not recognized in her lifetime because of two male scientists, James Watson and Francis Crick, who viewed Franklin's unpublished data findings without her knowledge, including Photo 51, and published it as their own along with their own findings to create the famous Watson and Crick double helix structure model. This was horribly unfair, as they did not even spare Franklin a morsel of the credit she deserved after stealing her work, and went on to win a Nobel Prize without her. However, Franklin moved on unfazed and advanced to do some of the most important work of her life on the structure of coal and viruses. She was actually recognized for this work during her lifetime. However, she soon tragically developed ovarian cancer, likely due to how much radiation she was exposed to during her lab work. Franklin died at just the age of 37, but not without significantly impacting the field of science for many ages to come. We hope you remember Rosalind Franklin as a passionate woman of science.
Next, we'll be talking about women in the math field. One important figure in this field is Katherine Johnson, who made great contributions to the space industry. She once said, "Girls are capable of doing everything men are capable of doing. Sometimes they have more imagination than men." Some of her greatest contributions to STEM were her calculations that were critical for the success of the first US space mission. This math was later used in missions that came afterwards. She was also one of the few women working at NASA, as it was uncommon for women, especially those of color, to be in her position. Here's some more about her. She co-authored one of the first textbooks on space while working in NASA's Flight Dynamics branch at the Langley Research Center. She was one of the first women of color at her university and lived to be 101 years old, from 1918 to February of this year. There was also a movie created about her life at NASA called Hidden Figures. In 2015, the National Science Foundation had a study which found that women only earned 25% of the doctoral degrees in mathematics and computer science. Math is a STEM field that's heavily dominated by men, and we need to get more women involved in opportunities like these.
Hello, my name is Ayanna, and this is our environmental science portion. Now, here in New Jersey, it's starting to finally feel like fall, which means that the leaves are falling off their branches and turning yellow and orange as we start to go into winter. Now, but compared to what we've seen in previous years, this is happening at a really late time, and you might be wondering, why is this the case? Well, this is something that environmental scientists like to study. Now, environmental science, compared to the other things we're going to be talking about today, is actually a very new study. And this is because we finally started to take into account all the effects that certain actions can have on our environment and the planet as a whole. Now, because it's so new, we actually have a lot of prominent leaders in environmental science that are women. For example, one of the most prominent ones in America is Rachel Carson, who wrote the book Silent Spring to talk about the effects that pesticides have had on our crops, and got some of these pesticides, such as DDT, completely banned as a result. In more recent years, we have seen the rise of one very prominent activist named Greta Thunberg, and she has been working to have more people recognize that climate change does exist and that it is a really important issue that our society needs to tackle. However, today I'm going to be talking about a less prominent woman. This is Wangari Maathai, who became the first woman from East and Central Africa to earn a doctorate. She then started the Greenbelt Network, which encouraged people, especially women, to go plant trees in order to prevent the environment in Kenya from degrading. This system not only enabled individuals to get together for a good cause, but it also helped some women who weren't making that much income to make a little more while helping save the environment. In total, the group planted about 30 million trees with the help of 30,000 women. In 2004, she became the first African woman to win the Nobel Prize for her work in sustainable development.
Hi, now we'll be discussing female role models in the medical field. And we'll be talking about some prominent female doctors that have paved the way for future female physicians in the healthcare industry. So this video will be divided up into different specialties. So the first specialty we'll be talking about is cardiology.